Hello, and welcome to episode number 7 of the Marriage Coach Podcast, where we are here to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving.
Today on the Marriage Coach Podcast, we're going to be discussing crucial conversations.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a big thumbs up wherever you're listening or watching. Also, rate this podcast and leave a review and a comment on iTunes. That will help us get the word out.
Crucial Conversations, it's a great book that we actually read
together.
So we read it, and this book is really helpful with having crucial conversations. Crucial conversations, those conversations that we like to stay away from. That's those conversations where instead of talking about it, you rather, go to bed or somebody go sleep on the couch or something like that and not really dealing with it. And what happened for healthy marriages, we want to deal with everything. We want to deal with crucial conversations. We want to deal with every conversation because it's easy to talk about the things when things are good, but when things are going bad, we don't want to deal with it. And oftentimes we don't want to deal with it maybe because of the way our spouse responds. They respond in, such a defensive way where you say, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to talk about it no more. I'm not going to deal with it anymore. So what we want to do, we want to help marriages because it's very important for us to get through every obstacle. Everything in our marriage is important to communicate and to talk about everything.
Absolutely.
I think it's great. It's definitely important in the relationship.
Yes. And as in a marital relationship is in any other relationship, there's going to be times that there's going to be a situation, a circumstance, something that needs to be said or discussed that may be a little difficult. It may be one of those things that you really rather not say, or one of those things that you think may hurt your spouse or may offend your spouse. Or, you may not want to say something to them because they were, like you said before, they did get on the defense last time you brought it up, or just bringing it up turns it into a big argument. People's past sometimes does that.
When you love somebody, you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right.
You want to tell them all the good stuff. You really don't want to hurt them feelings. Matter of fact, when I was a little kid, my mom, the truth of the matter is, somebody, you give some grown person and maybe they have, they breath maybe a little tart. I was taught, that it wasn't nice, it's not nice, So, yeah. But this is the thing in marriage, when we do that and we say we want to be nice, it can end up in situations we don't want to be in. So we're going to talk about crucial conversations. This is very important. And I think the crucial conversations, when we're able to conquer the crucial conversations, we're tearing walls down. We're tearing down closets things are thrown on the inside and hidden, that thing that you don't want, you put in the back of the closet. Crucial conversations, we deal with it all. All right, so with crucial conversations, we have 5 C's. What's the first C?
The first C is to create.
All right, explain that.
And what we mean by create is create an atmosphere, create an environment, create a safe space where your spouse feels comfortable with being honest with you, where your spouse feels. And the thing about this, creating an environment where your spouse is safe to feel like they can be honest and speak the truth. This comes long before the crucial conversation. So this is something that you want to, from the beginning, you want to create this safe space regardless if there's something difficult for you to talk about. You want your spouse to feel like they can come to you. You want your spouse to feel like they can express themselves. You want your spouse to feel like they can be honest with you.
Right. And I think one of the things with a safe space is, we have to be honest. A lot of times in our marriage, we really get, we all emotional creatures.
Absolutely.
And oftentimes we get into, our emotions, we'll get on the defense, about things that we want to deal with, so we really have to create that space. We have to create that space for feedback, create that space not to be offended. You have to create that space where, sometimes you have to just kind of bite down a little bit so you won't say anything to allow your spouse you know what we say, spouse. Allow your spouse, allow your
Significant
friends,
other.
significant other, allow them to say what they have to say, and you creating an environment where they can always come to you for feedback. Because the thing about it, if somebody give you something to tell you something that was maybe it was true, and you get on the defense and you start arguing about it, it's a big chance that it may not happen again.
Absolutely. And I would venture to say for us, and on the Marriage Coach podcast are always sharing from our perspective.
Right.
For us, when we first got married, we didn't know anything about this. We didn't know that we needed to create a safe space for each other, to be honest.
Absolutely.
We didn't know that we needed to, because we talked about it previously. You bring up something about finance and I would be upset. You bring up something about uh what are we saving, how much are we doing, whatever, I would be upset because I would see that as, in my mind, it was thought of as an attack. But now that, not now, but when we started reading Crucial Conversations, I don't even remember how many years ago it was, but when we read it, and then it opened up my mind to say, this was after I had already come to grips with the fact that we needed to discuss finances, but it was that thing, because it starts in us before. It don't even have anything to do with your spouse. It starts way before that. Like you said, mom saying, don't say that. That's not nice.
Yeah.
So we were taught when we were kids not to tell people the truth.
Right.
See, we don't think that that's what we're teaching our kids, but we're telling, when your child say, oh, he stink, and you say, don't say that. That's not nice. Or I don't want to play with them. You're not being nice. It may not be that the child is not being nice. They just don't want to play with that person right now. But when we say that, then we create the idea.
Yeah.
We create the idea that it's not safe to tell the truth.
Yeah.
So parents, listen up. People, listen up. Go all the way back to when you were a child. This creating a safe space to be honest, creating a safe space for somebody to be upfront with you. For many of us, this space was already tainted before we even got into a romantic relationship, before we started dating, before we got engaged, before we got married. It was already tainted because my mom said, don't say that. You're not supposed to say that to people. You're not supposed to tell nobody that they chicken don't taste good. You're not supposed to tell nobody that you don't like the shirt they have on. So this thing of creating a safe space, now we're having to revamp this in our adult lives and learn this over. And so for us, we had to learn to do that, to create a safe space so that the other person can feel safe and comfortable enough to tell you the truth.
Right. And safe and creating a safe space is not giving permission to be rude.
Right. Right.
It's not being rude, and
it's not.
It's or being brutally honest or whatever the case may be. I mean, we have to, you have to really think about what you're saying. I mean, you have to understand that the other person, their feelings, it is a state. I mean, so you really, the golden rule. Think about the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. Right. Say to others as you want people to say unto you. Exactly. I mean, if you want nice, you got to give nice. Mm-hmm. Don't be nasty if you expect the nice. I mean, don't give hate and judgment if you want love. I mean, so you have to keep that in mind. So creating a safe environment. So once you get the environment right, then what's number two?
Then number two, you want to concentrate. And you want to, what we talking about in concentrate is you want to concentrate on the outcome.
Okay.
What is it now we've created a safe space. We've created a safe environment that our spouse, our significant other, our children, whoever we're in relationship with, that person feels comfortable with telling you the truth. That person knows that they can be honest with you. They can say what needs to be said, and they can say it in a nice way. And we want to concentrate on the outcome because at this point, this is where the pivot takes place, because now there's a conversation that needs to be had that's a little tough. Now there's a situation that needs to be discussed that may not be so easy to discuss. So when we face that crucial conversation, when we're at that point where we need to have a crucial conversation, a serious talk, when there is something that really needs to be dealt with, what we want to do before we enter that conversation is concentrate on the outcome. What do you want out of this conversation? Is it your hope to hurt their feelings? Is it your hope to break them? Is it your hope to wound them emotionally? Or do you just want to resolve the situation? Do you want your relationship to be intact at the end of the conversation? Do you want your relationship to be better at the end of the
Yeah.
conversation?
And when you said that, I thought about destination.
Mm-hmm.
The end result. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's like when we're getting ready to go somewhere. It's like I'm here and I'm trying to go across town. What I do, I put it in the GPS, and when I put in the GPS, I put with my current location.
Mm-hmm.
Then I put the location of where I'm trying to go,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
then the navigation
Guides you.
guides
Exactly.
me along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So concentration, that's good. Concentration will be the navigation that leads you to what you want out of the conversation.
Mm.
And if we are, as a couple, I'm speaking for the marrieds, as a couple,
Okay.
if you love your spouse, when you have to have a difficult conversation with them, you don't want to hurt them. You don't want to wound them. You don't want to make some deep-seated thing happen inside of them.
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to share. You want them to know how you feel. You want them to know what bothers you. You want them to know what hurts you. Or you want them to know that you don't like what they did or whatever happened. Regardless if the situation is something so small that, I don't want to say small because we're talking about crucial conversations. So this is typically those big things that we want to talk about.
Right.
So even if it's something all the way to the magnitude of infidelity, it's still the question of what do you want to get at the end of the conversation.
But let's be practical here.
Okay.
So we're talking about crucial conversation. Crucial conversation between a spouse. It may be a sex life.
Yeah.
It may be something
Okay.
that somebody don't like. Let's be
Yeah.
real. Let's talk about this real stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
Practical teaching.
I want to talk about, and I want to deal with the things that leads to divorce.
Okay.
That's the reason why most of the time, whether it's male or female, they go outside their marriage because they're not getting what they, So the thing about it is conversation. Hey, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real.
Right.
We're gonna keep it PG-13, but things like sex, for example, talking about it, talking about what you don't like and what you do like.
Absolutely.
You have something. I don't know. He may feel like he the man. He may feel like he doing this thing. Then you create the environment.
Yes.
And the outcome. What do you want? And find a way to communicate.
Because the outcome would be that you want a better sex life.
Yeah.
That you want to.
There you go.
That if it is sex, he may be thinking that he's the man and he's doing his thing, and he's not understanding why you're not wanting it more or responding to it more.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because the way he likes to do things is not the way you like them,
right.
or you don't feel like you're being romantic or you're being wooed or you're being pursued.
Right.
You may feel like it's more becoming an obligation, so that's why you're not giving it. But what you need to do is have a crucial conversation.
Right.
But you want to concentrate on what you want the end to be. You don't want to just be like, well, you ain't doing all that anyway. It ain't all of that. You think it's about helping your spouse understand that, what you're doing is not working for me.
If you come in there like that, like,
it's going to be a
you're
problem.
creating a bad environment.
Yes.
You don't want to do that. And you're not going to get the right results at the end. He may be upset. He may come storming out, and he may, hey, whatever, some things may happen that you wasn't expecting, vice versa, man or woman, so we have to, those are some of the conversations we have to deal with. Another crucial conversation is, with family, with husband and wife, our physical ability, we're getting old, if I'm getting a little pudge around the sides, if I got some flat
love
tires
handles
on the side, what I'm saying? I'm calling it love handles, but significant other may feel like it's something else, so having that conversation and really expressing how you feel, again, set the environment.
Yeah. And then concentrate on the outcome.
There you go.
Why do I want to have this conversation? What do we hope to accomplish from this conversation? What do I want the end result to look like? If the end result is you trying to have a conversation because you want to end it, then maybe you're okay with that person storming out. But if you want to save your marriage, or if you want to restore the sexual relationship, or you want a better sex life, or you want better finances, because, that was one of the things we, talked about. That was one of our crucial conversations, finance. So if you want to be in a better place financially, then you need to create the atmosphere and concentrate on that. Babe, this is my ultimate goal. This is about our finances being better. This is about us being in a better place financially. This is about our sex life being better. This is about us, whatever it is, remember, concentrating means focus. It means that you're focused on the outcome. You're not caught up in the hoo-ha. You're concentrating on the outcome. Why do we need to have this conversation? And what do we hope to accomplish by having this conversation? What do I want the end result to be?
Right. So we have create, concentrate. What's number 3?
And the next one is cruise.
Cruise.
And you kind of talked about it a little bit already.
All right.
We're talking about cruise. You have a car when you travel. We travel, and when my husband is driving on the highway, he oftentimes puts the car in cruise control
all the time.
Because if we know that the next stretch, according to the GPS, the navigation, according to the GPS, the next stretch is going to take us
80 miles.
Yeah, there you go. 80 miles to get there. There's no
80
point.
miles down 45. I'm cruising.
There's no point in accelerating and decelerating and accelerating. We want to cruise.
Yeah.
Cruise, we want to ease into the conversation. Okay. That's what it means. When you have a difficult conversation, you don't want, we talked about it just a little bit. You don't want to go in with this attack mode. Yeah. You don't want to go in with all of this, anger or whatever, and saying things like you always, or you this, or you that. You don't want to do that. You want to ease into the conversation. You may want to, have a nice dinner and tell your husband, honey, there's something that I really want to talk to you about. I love you, and I want you to know that I love you. And I just really feel we need to talk about this. If it's something.
And I think you need to let them know. I mean, express how you love them.
Exactly.
Express. It's another thing. Probably said in another podcast prior. The phrase when I told you one time, I said, "Babe, I'm not your enemy." You have to confirm all this, and you have to let the person know all this before you say what you have to say.
Yeah.
Because the mind starts wondering if you don't give them the story, they're going to create a story. So the thing about it is either you want them to create their own narrative, or you create the narrative for them before you cruise into it.
Right. And when you're cruising into it, you're easing into this. You're setting like you watch a movie, you're setting the tone is set. The movie kind of paced along. And that's what you want to do in a crucial conversation. You want to let them know that you love them, that you care about them, and that, what I'm about to say may be a little bit difficult.
Set the mood.
Yeah, it may be a little bit difficult, but you're easing into it so that they can receive it. Because when we think about yourself, when someone approaches you in a way that feels like an attack, then you're not going to receive what they have to say. And that's going to turn from a crucial conversation to a conflict that is on a whole nother level. It may not even be any conversation because it wasn't approached properly. And I believe that if number 3, cruise, if we ease into a crucial conversation, we can have conversations that we never thought we could have before. And that's been proven, right, babe?
Right. But let me tell you this. This is one thing when you're talking about cruising. You have to be really careful. Don't cruise in too slow.
Oh, no.
Especially for men. Most of the time men, and I'm one of those, it's like, babe, get to the point.
Tuning out.
Get to the point. Please don't. So be careful. Know your spouse. You know your spouse, you know who you're in a relationship with. I mean, you know what tone, what speed to go in. Sometimes don't go in too fast. Don't go in too slow. You have to go in just right. Be the baby bear.
Yeah,
just. I mean, the baby bear method. I mean,
everything was just right.
Everything was just right. Yeah,
that's right. And I think I really think this is important, babe. And the reason why I said it's been proven is because, for us, when we talked about the financial conversation and the issue that we had with, even discussing finance, and oftentimes this was before we even read Crucial Conversation. The conversations that we had about finance typically came at a specific time. Maybe it was something that we wanted to purchase, and it's like, do we have enough money to get this? Right. Or it was one time after we did a financial analysis, and it's like, really, do we have this much debt? So because of the speed of entering the conversation, that's kind of a way why it's taken as an attack, even if you're saying something to me. It depends on how I go into it.
And I often say Lead to Greatness. Lead to Greatness is another podcast, leadership podcast. Check it out. But here there's a marriage coach fam. We've been married. Matter of fact, we just celebrated 22 years of marriage on yesterday. 22 years of marriage. But here it is. We've been married 22 years. I know my wife, but even after 22 years, listen to me. You're not going to always get it right. You're not always going to be perfect
That's
with
true,
it.
babe.
I'm telling you, I don't always get it right.
That's true.
Although I have the tools, I don't always get it right. But the point is, I have the tools. I have something that I can go to help me in times like that. You know, even if I make a mistake, or sometimes because I have the tools, I think about it, I make less mistakes. That's the best way to say it. I make less mistakes because now I have the tools before I go into this crucial conversation. But the truth of the matter is, I don't always get it right. I don't always get it right. Sometimes it come across wrong. Sometimes I can get a little hot-headed. Sometimes I can be a little quick, with my mouth, get to the point, and I don't always cruise into it. And when I don't cruise into it, that's a train wreck. So I'm just trying to help you as we grow together in our marriages, taking our marriages from surviving to thriving.
Absolutely.
I'm just giving you, here's the tools that we're using, and these tools work. Listen to me. We don't always get it right, but when we get it right, it works very well. At 22 years of marriage, the tools that we have, these tools that we are sharing with you on today, if we wouldn't have had these tools, our marriage wouldn't be where it's at right now.
And these tools, one thing I would like to say before we go to the next point, these tools, what these tools do for me personally, just like he just said, even in the times when I don't, because sometimes in the height of a situation, you can't think about the tool.
Right,
you can't think about the tool. You can't think about what works. You, in the height of a situation, you sometimes react. Right. But in those instances, the fact that I have the tools helps me to recover quickly. Yeah. So, even if we got to separate for a few minutes because I didn't cruise in, I just threw it out there, and now it's like poof. And it's like, okay, that went wrong. So when you step back and step away, you realize I didn't cruise into this.
But you know what happens then? Even when that happened, because both of us have these tools together, even if you made a mistake and come in too quick, it make me go to the toolbox too. So we both go to the toolbox, and it's so easy. Yes. It's easy to come together and to recover and to compromise, come to agreement, and then really take care of the situation. Absolutely. Because we both have the tools to do it. And actually, both of us in the toolbox, because if we do get in the case where it get a little heated, we have to separate because we just pause. Let's talk later. Yeah. And that's a nugget right there.
Nugget right there.
When you're angry, when we feel ourselves, I think I'm getting to the next point.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the next point. But here we go. So we're about to get into the next point. But the first thing is what? Create. Number 2 is what?
Concentrate.
Number 3 is what?
Cruise.
Number 4 is what?
Check.
Here we go. Now I'm going to go into it. Check your emotions. You have to check your emotions and make sure you're there. So when these things happen, just check your emotions. Check your emotions and calm down. If you feel yourself, listen. If you feel yourself getting into a heated conversation, you feel it's about to heat up, don't wait till the temperature goes up to 120 degrees. Right. 120 degrees is boiling point. Don't let it. When you feel it going up to 80, when you feel it going up to 90, you may want to say, you know what, let's pause. Let's take a break, and let's meet back in a few minutes.
And here's what I want to say right there. That's one thing, one tool that has been a great tool for us, because and listen, it's not always that that you are angry. Sometimes it's just something that you're passionate about. Sometimes it's just something that it could be something you disagree about. You're not angry about it and like, I want to fight with my spouse, I want to go out. It's just you both have two differences of opinions. And we know that when we have two differences of opinion, sometimes it's very difficult in the moment to talk about it. For instance, you at your mom's house and there's a conversation going on and this person says this, your spouse says this, but you feel that, and you can start discussing it. And if you don't watch yourself in that moment, just because you disagree, meaning you have two differences of opinions, it can turn into something all out the world, and then y'all in the car, y'all can't talk to each other, y'all mad, whatever, or you in the car arguing
Right.
because of what happened in that moment.
Right.
So in the moment, what we're talking about is check your emotions, check how you, when you're getting ready to have crucial conversations, when you're going in, don't allow your emotions to control you.
Yeah.
Your emotions
Control
are
your emotion. Don't let your emotion control you.
exactly.
Right.
Your emotions are an indicator, but they are not what controls you. They're not a factor in what's controlling you. They're only an indicator that you may disagree, an indicator that you may be upset, an indicator that you may not, an indication
Right.
that you may be upset, an indication that you may not like what was said, but they should not be the driving force behind what you do, because you are in control of your emotions. Like he said, your emotions should not be in control of you. So you have to check your emotions. You know, when I never played basketball, but I watched my cousins and my husband play basketball. And when they play
I
basketball,
used to do a little bit.
they used to have this thing called ball check. And so one of them, that means the person would have to pass it to that person. They check and they give them the ball back. So that was a pause to allow people to
To get
get
in
into
place.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have to do that. You using this tool number 4, the the fourth C that we have is check. And the reason why we're saying check is because we have to, as individuals, check our emotions. There has been time after time that couples, and y'all know I'm telling the truth, couples argue, fight. You go move in with your mama, he go move in with his daddy, or he leave the house, he go stay with his mom, and y'all separated for 2 months, and you really don't even know why you separated. Or a fight got so bad he went to sleep in the guest room, or he slept on the couch, or he's
Don't even
mad,
know why.
and now y'all talking about splitting up, and it was all because of something so petty. It was something petty, but your emotions got in the way and took it from 0 to 10. And sometimes, let me correct that, it can be something that's crucial. We're talking about crucial conversations. So it can be something that's crucial that before you even got a chance to deal with it, your emotions got out of control.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, what we go back to number 2, what do you want to accomplish? Do you really, really want your relationship to be over, or do you want your relationship to be better? So you have to check your emotions, and you want to be careful, because you can't get anywhere. If I come at him, or if he comes at me emotionally charged and upset about whatever, even if it's something serious, I'm not even going to be in a frame of mind. Most human beings won't be in a frame of mind to receive what you have to say because of the way you came at them.
Right.
And it's because your emotions are driving you. And when your emotions are driving you, they'll take you places you don't want to go, and they'll keep you there longer than you want to stay.
Right. You said that you said your emotions is like an indicator.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I have a vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
and if my car is overheating, the indicator light is going to come on. And when the indicator light come on, the wise thing to do is to pull over,
Mm-hmm.
because if I don't pull over, and you may not, you probably don't know this, but if you don't pull over, and listen, I'm gonna give you a lesson, just in case, so we won't be have any crucial engine.
You
Uh,
gotta stop making me laugh on every
but it's
podcast.
good. It's good. It's good. So we won't have any crucial mechanical issues. If the car ever run hot, pull over.
It's best to pull over.
Pull over,
Yeah.
because if you continue to drive that car while it's running hot, it's going to eventually destroy your engine. You're going to throw a block, or you're going to throw a rod, and your engine going to be messed up. Something, all you have to do is just pull over.
Hmm.
So it's the same thing in the
Come
relationship.
on.
If you don't check,
Yep.
if you don't check, you will end up throwing a rod
Yeah.
in your marriage.
Yes.
And you don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
We can save destroying our marriage by just checking the light. And you feel the emotions, quit, regroup, and come back. Matter of fact, just call a check. If you seen
Yeah.
basketball, a check.
Yeah. And that's where I was going with that earlier. And I forgot. I started talking about something else. But that's been something that was great for us. I remember the very first time that you called a check. And we were having a conversation about
Explain what happened.
we were having a conversation about one of the kids.
Okay.
And I don't remember the details of the conversation. I really don't. But I do remember that I was leaving work and you said, babe, we're gonna have to talk about this later. And at that time, I was like, what do you mean talk about it later? Like, no, we in the conversation right now. And you slowed down and you said, you're on the defense
Mm.
and I'm getting upset.
Yeah.
And if we continue to talk, this conversation isn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
It's going to end up in us,
Oh, I
having
remember
an
that.
issue. Yeah. And
I
then we're
remember
going to
that.
come home from work and it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And we hung up the phone and
Yeah.
that was it. And
And we
I
didn't have no
came,
problem. That worked out good,
I
right?
came, yeah, I came home from work.
I remember that.
You were already at home. I came home from work and we ate dinner. We didn't even talk about it.
We talked
We
about the next day, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
I remember. Yeah,
Exactly. And that's why I
yeah,
wanted to share that.
yeah.
And I think I know it was one of the kids, but I cannot remember exactly everything we talked about. But I do know
I remember.
next morning when we were driving in, we talked about it and we talked
Yeah,
through it. And then we understood that we were both seeing the same situation two different ways.
yeah,
And um that was pretty much the end of it.
yeah.
Once we realized that we were seeing the situation two different ways, it really wasn't nothing else to talk about because it really wasn't a crucial conversation. But the fact that I was on the defense began to make
But
you
it
angry.
avoided a crucial conversation going
Exactly.
bad.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I was on the defense and you were, because I was on the defense, it was starting to make you angry, which was turning a conversation into a crucial conversation.
right.
And it was about to go way left.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that was good. I'm glad you shared that story because that was really, it definitely
Yeah.
worked
And
out well
so
for
now,
us.
and after that, babe, now if either one of us say, let's talk about this later, we don't even have to explain it.
Yeah.
We don't have to say, I'm getting upset, you're on the defense. We don't have to say that, or
That,
you not listening to me and I'm getting upset.
that that's what I was getting ready to say because what happened when I did that the first time,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what's going on in your head, but you may want to question or challenge it. But after that happened, and then you see the results of it, next time it's like, okay, it's like a no brainer. It's like
Yeah.
walking.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so simple. It's like walking. It's like, okay, I know we're gonna take care of it. I know we're gonna handle it because it's not that we're putting things off and not gonna deal with it. No, you got to deal
Now
with
you're
it.
going to number 5.
Yeah. All right. So what's number 5? Go ahead.
Number 5 is to conversate.
Come on.
And the reason why number 5 is to conversate is because it's the final step in a crucial conversation or having a serious talk. You have to talk about it.
Right.
You cannot throw it in the closet. You cannot put it on the back burner. You can't say, we're going to talk about it later, and I'm hoping that you forget, or I'm upset, you on the defense, let's talk about it later, and then we're not going to deal with it, or we're going to go back to living life like it was nothing. We're going to keep moving on. We happy today, so we just going to, no. What we're talking about in the 5th step, in the 5th C, is to conversate. It's you coming back saying, okay, babe, just like we had to do. Yesterday we were having a conversation and it was going left.
Yeah.
Here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to share my perspective and I'm going to share what I was trying to say yesterday. And then the other spouse or significant other is going to elect to be quiet, listen to what the other person is saying, take it in, process it, and then going to share. Not listen, you're not rebutting what they said or what they attacking what they said. What you're now going to do is share your point of view, your perspective, your side. Not say, oh, you was wrong, this, let me tell you this. Well, I saw it this way, blah, blah, blah. This is what I was trying to tell you yesterday. Well, this is what I didn't understand. Da, 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 da. Or this is what I thought you were saying. That's why I was on the defense. Or this is what it seemed like you were doing. That's why I was upset. You don't want to attack what they're saying, or else you're going to dismantle number 1, which is creating a safe environment, a safe space for them to talk. If you're going to get all the way to the conversation and you're going to pull apart everything that I said, then I'm going to feel like I can't tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
I can't be honest with you. I can't tell you how I feel because all you're going to do is take it apart and make me wrong or not listen to me. You're going to take it apart to prove your point. You're not going to listen. To listen to someone is totally different than hearing them. Because you hear with your ears, but you listen with your mind. Your mind means I'm listening to what you said. That hurt you, that offended you, that wounded you, and why it hurt you, why it offended you, why it wounded you, why it made you get on the defense, why it made you angry,
Absolutely.
why it made you block me. I'm listening to that. And then I'm processing. Was I doing that? And I'm not going to tell you, was I doing that? I'm going to be honest with myself. Yes, I was cutting you off. Yes, I was trying to prove that I was right. And that's what we're doing. We're now having a conversation. You can't get anywhere and you cannot go from surviving to thriving if you refuse to deal with difficult situations, crucial conversations, even if it is not crucial, just a conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely.
You cannot get anywhere if you refuse to deal with things that need to be dealt with.
Absolutely. So 5 C's. We're going to have a recap. What's number one?
Number one is to create.
What's number two?
Number two is to concentrate.
What's number three?
Number three is to cruise.
What's number four?
Number four is to check. Number five is to conversate.
Absolutely.
The way we read and learn things for business, ministry, anything.
We use all it.
We use it.
Marriage,
every tool that we can use to make us better in any area of our lives. Every tool crosses all genres.
And we want to continue to share with you the tools we learned, the lessons we learned from just ordinary books. You know, we want to continue to pull lessons out of the books to help take your marriage from surviving to thriving. That's why we're here. We're just so thankful for you guys being faithful and joining us week after week.
Right. And we want to invite you to subscribe to the Marriage Coach Podcast today. While you're already on here, just click the subscribe button, click the thumbs up, and click the button to turn on the notification so that every week when we upload a new video, you will get a notification. Hey, the Marriage Coach Podcast is on. They up every Tuesday. We'll have a new episode. So we want to encourage you to do that. And we also want to ask that you would share it across your social media platforms, however, whatever forms of social media you're on. Share with your family, share with your friends, anyone you know that is in a relationship, that's dating, that's engaged, that's married, that desires to be married, preparing for marriage, waiting for marriage, whatever it is, share the podcast. And we also want to invite you to check out our podcast, Lead to Greatness. Lead to Greatness is an awesome podcast on leadership, entrepreneurship, and self-development. There is some great people being interviewed on there, and they are growing and helping the Lead to Greatness listeners grow. So you don't want to miss it. Subscribe to the Marriage Coach Podcast, subscribe to the Lead to Greatness podcast, and it will help you reach your greatest potential as well as take your marriage from surviving to thriving.
Also, if you're listening on iTunes, go ahead and go to the podcast, and I want you to leave a review and rate it just to help get the word out. We'll definitely be grateful for that, and thank you in advance. Today, I want to thank you so much for joining us on today, and we're looking forward to seeing you again on next week,
as we continue to help you take your marriage from surviving to thriving. Bye. See you next week.